Hey everybody, how you doing? I just want to do an extension on having a successful marriage. About 2 weeks ago, I did a live stream on it, talking about how we become one flesh with one another, and how when we get married, we make a covenant with God. It's just not a covenant that we're making with each other, but it's a covenant with God. And so when we break that covenant, we're not only breaking that covenant with our spouse, but we're breaking a commitment that we made to God. And so it becomes pretty serious. And there's a lot of divorces going on right now. And some of the biggest problems in our marriages today is self-centeredness, is because it becomes about me and not my spouse. And when we get the perspective that God has for our marriage, then we'll have a successful marriage, because it's not about me and it's not about my wife and her perspective, but it's about us honoring God and pleasing each other. So really, my marriage isn't so much about me as it is about me loving my wife and making sure my wife's needs are met, and the covenant that I made with God to honor her and to cherish her, acknowledging that she is a gift from God. I don't own my wife. My wife is a blessing or a gift from God that God entrusted me with to take care of, to nurture, to love, to respect. And so when we get that perspective, it gives us a whole different meaning or a purpose to look at how our marriage is supposed to be. So in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 7, husbands, in the same way, be considerate as you live with your wives, and treat them with respect as the weaker partner and as heirs with you, heirs with you, of the gracious gift of life, so that nothing will hinder your prayers. So this is pretty powerful, because God is saying that we need to be considerate of one another. Okay, we got to be considerate of our emotions, of our feelings, of our thoughts, things that mean things to us. We need to be considerate of that and respect that. Respect the fact that God created each one of us different. God gave me different mindset, different thoughts, different likes, different desires than he gave my wife. But when God brings us together, he has a way that he merges those, and we need to be respectful of that. One of the biggest things in my marriage when I was younger, in our marriage, that destroyed our marriage, was the fact that I always wanted my wife to be who I wanted her to be instead of who God created her to be. And we got to remember that it's my wife's personality that drew me to her. But for some reason, as we grow older in our marriage, we seem to forget what brought us into love with each other. So we need to respect that. And the Bible makes it very clear. If we're not having a successful marriage, if there's a hindrance in our marriage, it's going to hinder our prayers with God. Why? Because this is a covenant. This is a blessing that God gave us. God entrusted us with our spouse. And we need to honor that and respect that. So we don't want our prayers to be hindered with God, nor do we truly want to get a divorce with our spouse. Something happens along the line where we get out of a balance of that covenant, and it opens up this doorway and allows the enemy in there, and he kind of stirs the pot up, plays with our mind a little bit, till the point is when we forget why we loved him to begin with. So that is one of the key things. So Philippians 2:14 says, do everything without grumbling and arguing. Man, if I can just recall or go back and change all the times that I let things come out of this mouth that I didn't mean. Man, we get angry, we get hot, we get heated, and we say things we don't mean to say. And we can't take them back. And 9 times out of 10, we get so carried away in that we won't even apologize. We don't take it back. We just kind of ride with it. And then if we do take it back, we don't realize the consequence that is left in our marriage, how much it's hurt the person. You see, we can ask for forgiveness for certain things, but we can't take back the consequence or the action that it caused. So really, we do things without grumbling. We're supposed to be slow to speak and display that love. And so when we jump off the handle and we start grumbling and arguing about it, we just get ourselves in trouble. So really, Philippians 2:14 is a good verse to keep, that when the moment gets a little bit heated, we remember that we got to speak in love and don't get all angry in that. Romans 12:10 says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Wow. I'm supposed to honor my wife more than me? I wonder if God's really got that right. Yeah, God's got it right. We got to remember, we do not own our spouse. We do not control our spouse. Our spouse is a gift. They are a blessing from God. And a blessing can be taken away like that. And that's why the Bible teaches us that we're supposed to honor them. We're supposed to cherish them. We're supposed to what? Honor them above ourselves. So put them at a higher level. We're supposed to make them feel important. Make them feel like they have value, because they do. Because they're that blessing that God gave us. And so when we make that covenant with God during our marriage, it's more than just a bunch of words that we say between one another because we want to make that connection. No, it's a covenant with God. It's a promise to God that you will cherish, you will honor, you will respect, you will love, you will lift up the one that He's given you as a blessing. So until the next video, cherish your spouse, love your spouse, encourage your spouse, lift them up. And every day, look in your spouse's eyes and remember why you fell in love with them. Remember what drew you to them. Remember that wow factor, that wow moment that when you saw them, you said, I just want to be with them. Remember the reason why you asked them to marry you to begin with. But most importantly, remember the commitment you made to God to cherish them. Until next time, have a great day. God bless you.